Hey guys, Andrew Esquivel here, back with another video about fish tanks. So, today we're going to talk about controlling algae. Now, algae is just something that we all have to deal with. It is going to happen in one form or another, whether we like it or not. So, we all devise our own particular ways on how we go about it. Some people simply just scrape the algae off. Some people use chemical situations where they add some sort of algae gone or algae fix to the tank, which can be detrimental. I don't particularly recommend stuff like that. But I want to talk about the way I control algae in my tank, and the way I do it is virtually maintenance free. So this tank that you see here is my 2.5 gallon micro tank. And yes, this tank used to have a ton of algae everywhere. I'm talking everywhere. On the glass, on the silicone, on the siding right here, all up on the bubbler and all that. And you can't really use a scraper on things like the silicone and certain parts. So you might be wondering, well, how did I get it nice and clean? Well, I didn't actually do anything. My snails did. Fun little fact, not all snails are good at eating algae. In fact, most are pretty bad at it. And sometimes people recommend snails like ram's horns that, yes, are very good at eating algae, but reproduce like you wouldn't believe. So that can cause them to be classified as pests. But one type of snail that does not reproduce in freshwater and is awesome at eating algae are nearite snails. So basically, for every 2.5 gallons of water is kind of like the base measurement, just have one nearite snail. And if you stick to that calculation, one nearite snail will be able to clear up a ton of algae in just a few days. And then once the algae is cleared up, the nearite snail will help keep it clean. He'll just keep scooting and zooming along, cleaning the glass and everything he touches. That's how I was able to get the tank this clean. Now, another thing you can do to help aid the process is make sure there's a lot of oxygen in the water. A lot of plants do require CO2 as opposed to oxygen. Now, that's not entirely the case, as some plants consume CO2 when there's light and consume oxygen when there's no light, but that's for a different discussion involving planted tanks. Let's just assume you're in a shrimp tank here like this is, and you just want to control the algae. Algae fix kills invertebrates, so using chemical solutions is out of the question, and scraping things is very difficult, especially when algae builds up on surfaces that you can't scrape. So these little nearite snails are truly a little miracle in disguise. My favorites are the black racers, the tigers, and the zebras. They get pretty big for what they are, and they're very fun. The fact that they come in so many different colors is probably the best part about it. And they don't reproduce outside of freshwater. They do lay eggs here and there, but they'll never come to fruition unless it's in brackish water. So I've got tigers, zebras, black racers, olives. I don't go for the horned nearites because they're really, really small. But those particular 4 that I just mentioned grow to a decent size, and they seem to do a really awesome job at keeping algae from growing out of control. So basically, you just put your snail in there, let him do his thing, and algae just goes away. If you have a serious case of algae, all you got to do, and I've actually done this with several of my tanks, I know it works, turn off the light for about a week, have a ton of aeration, and just put a few nearites in there. In about a week, your tank will be clear of pretty much all the algae buildup, and then you can turn your lights back on, and as long as you keep the nearites in there, the algae really shouldn't come back. So that's how I deal with my algae, a completely natural way that benefits not only the snail, but everything in your tank, as well as the aesthetics. So, with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this little tidbit, and as always, stay fishy.